Hi SEO Mozzers, and welcome to the first Whiteboard Friday that I'll be doing for the last couple of weeks. I have actually been in China, away from y'all, and it's great to be back in the US. It's great to be drinking the tap water and not sweating every second, but I definitely did have a fantastic time in China, and I wanted to share some of my experiences, not just there, but to talk about maybe search in the rest of the world for a day. I know we spend a lot of time concentrating on the North American and European markets on SEO Moz, and I figure, hey, it's time to broaden our horizons. What better time? So you can see here, I'm showing you guys, Google owns the search share in most of the wired world right now. North America, Europe, South America, Australia, New Zealand, although South America does have a considerable presence from Yahoo as well. But there are areas of the world where Google is not the dominant force, and I think that it pays to think about this when you're thinking about a worldwide kind of campaign. So in places like China, Korea, Japan, and Russia, there are actually other engines, one in each of those four markets, who are the dominant search leaders. So what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about in China, Baidu, which was mentioned on the blog a bit, was mentioned by Chris Sherman over at Search Engine Land. And in Russia, you've got an engine called Yandex that has about 40 to 50% of the market share there. In Japan, Yahoo actually really owns that market, although it's not the same exact version of Yahoo that we would think of here in the US, and they have a lot of different things. And in Korea, it's an engine called Naver, which is a very interesting one. So I want to talk about each of these just a little bit. So Baidu is kind of ruled by a couple of things. One is, someone was showing me when I was over in China, you just hop on Baidu and you type in Spider-Man 3 and ta-da, up come a bunch of downloadable, DVD quality versions that you can download just like that. And this works for pretty much any MP3 you can think of, any video, any piece of music. Remarkable, really, right? The copyright laws in China are not the same as you find here in the United States. Obviously, the U.S. government and the Chinese government are having a big tiff about this, and you read about it in the Wall Street Journal quite a bit. But hey, for now, this is why people are using Baidu. One other interesting thing about Baidu that's a little bit odd, people may not know that a few years ago, Google actually was the leader in search share by a small amount over Baidu, and the government in China shut down access to Google for a couple of weeks, redirected that traffic. So when you requested google.com, you would actually go to Baidu. And there's suspicion there that if Google were to become a market share leader again, and they're certainly on the upswing, that something like this could happen. So the Chinese government, a little bit regulatory, a little bit different from how we imagine things in the Western world, but still a very interesting market to think about. Other things that for Russia, I actually don't know a whole lot about Yandex, and I would urge folks to seek out someone who's more resourceful. But from my understanding, Yandex is very much ruled by sponsored search. So, and actually this is somewhat true in Baidu as well. If you're a paying advertiser and you have a keyword campaign with Baidu or with Yandex, all of your pages will somehow rank a little higher in organic search as well. So something to be aware of. Having those relationships does help. In Japan, Yahoo doesn't just have the biggest search share, they also own markets like local, they own a lot of community portals, and they own the auction market, which is the only market where they are dominant over eBay. In fact, I believe eBay has now exited from Japan entirely, which is fairly interesting stuff. In Korea, you have one of the most fascinating engines, and someone who's been experienced with search in Korea actually described it to me. So, and obviously we're talking about South Korea, not North Korea, where you can't really access the internet. But in South Korea, what's amazing is that there's a Yahoo Answers type of community that's been around for several years at Naver, and they've built up such a repository of information. When you search at Naver, actually the results that you're getting before you get organic search are individual people's answers, almost like a forum or a Wikipedia type thing. Obviously, when I look at it, I don't read Korean, sadly. I would love to, but it's a fascinating take on the fact that social search has kind of dominated this one market to a very, very high degree. I think Google has less than 10% share there. So with that, I'd like to close out another edition of Whiteboard Friday. I'm looking forward to hearing all your comments about worldwide search, and we will be back next week after SMX. I hope to be doing some video broadcasting from there. Rumor is that Matt Cutts has even agreed to an interview with us on camera, so that should be fun. Take care, everybody. My little China girl.